The rain hammered my apartment windows at 3 in the morning when I heard Elin's key in the lock. Again. Third time this month, she'd stumbled in after midnight, reeking of expensive cologne that wasn't mine, and wearing that guilty smile she thought was charming. Felix? Her voice carried that fake sweetness she used when she knew she was in trouble. You awake, baby? I sat up in bed, watching her silhouette in the doorway. 28 years old, still stunning in that dangerous way that had hooked me 5 years ago. PR manager at a downtown firm, always networking, always meeting clients, always lying. Where were you, Elin? She kicked off her heels, those red ones I'd bought her for our anniversary. Client dinner ran late. You know how it is. Until 3 a.m.? Her laugh was sharp, defensive. God, Felix, you're so clingy lately. Can't you give me some space? I work hard. I deserve to unwind. Space. Right. I'd given her plenty of space to sneak around with whoever was buying her drinks and whispering in her ear. The credit card statements didn't lie, even when she did. Hotels I'd never seen. Restaurants we'd never been to together. You want space? I kept my voice calm, controlled. I can arrange that. She was already heading to the bathroom, dismissing me with a wave. We'll talk tomorrow. I'm exhausted. But we wouldn't talk tomorrow. I was done talking. I waited until she fell asleep, then quietly packed my essentials. Clothes, laptop, the emergency cash I'd been saving. Left a note on the kitchen counter. Enjoy your space. Don't contact me. By sunrise, I was driving north toward Seattle with everything I owned in my Honda Civic. In the rearview mirror, our apartment building grew smaller until it vanished completely. Like our relationship. Like the man I used to be. The new Felix Rourke was going to be different. Smarter, more patient. And when the time came for payback, I'd be ready. 3 years. That's how long it took to build my new life. Tech support analyst at a software company, decent salary, modern loft in a trendy neighborhood. I'd blocked Elin on everything, changed my phone number, became a ghost with a forwarding address and too much wounded pride. But I never stopped watching. Social media made it easy. Elin's Instagram showed her new lifestyle. Expensive dinners, weekend getaways, designer clothes way beyond her PR salary, and always the same shadow in her photos, carefully cropped out but visible in reflections. Tall, dark-haired, wedding ring conspicuously absent in pictures but present in his LinkedIn profile. Drew Callahan, married ad executive with a socialite wife and a reputation for charm. Elin's type exactly. Successful, unavailable, exciting. I'd spent months learning everything about them both. Drew's patterns, his favorite restaurants, his gym schedule, Elin's new apartment, paid for by someone with deeper pockets than a PR manager should have. Her secret credit cards, the ones she thought I didn't know about. The rain was falling again when she appeared outside my loft at 9:50 p.m. on a Tuesday. I watched her from my window, soaked and desperate, pressing my buzzer repeatedly. I didn't answer. Instead, I called my lawyer friend Morgan. Felix, it's late, man. Remember that favor you owe me? I need you to serve an eviction notice tomorrow morning. I'm reclaiming the apartment Elin's been squatting in. The one you both signed the lease for? You can do that? She violated the lease terms. I have documentation. I'd been building this case for months. She'll be locked out by noon. Through my window, I watched Elin finally give up and walk away, her shoulders shaking. Whether from cold or tears, I didn't care anymore. The game was just beginning. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. Elin's first move was predictable. She weaponized our mutual friend Gage, a weak-willed gossip who ran a small marketing consultancy. Within days, rumors started circulating through our old social circle. Felix couldn't handle a real woman. Felix was controlling, obsessive, probably unstable. I let the rumors spread for exactly 1 week. Then, I made my countermove. Gage had always been careless with his business dealings, cutting corners, overpromising clients. It took 3 anonymous emails to his biggest accounts, complete with documentation I'd gathered over the years, to destroy his credibility overnight. "Felix!" Gage called me, panicking. "Someone's sabotaging me. They're sending my clients fake information about my company." "That's terrible, Gage. Maybe you shouldn't have spread lies about me." Silence. Then, "How did you know it was you? Please. You've always been Elin's lapdog, but now you're nobody's anything." I hung up and blocked his number. By the end of the week, Gage had lost 3 major clients and his business partner. Sometimes the best revenge is just giving people enough rope. The real prize came when I accessed Elin's old email account. She'd never changed the password from our relationship. 5 years of messages, including a folder marked D that contained everything I needed. Steamy exchanges with Drew. Hotel reservations. Plans to meet while his wife Rachel was out of town. Photos that would end his marriage and her career if they ever went public. But I didn't release them. Not yet. Instead, I leaked just enough to Elin's professional network to start whispers. A screenshot here, a forwarded message there. Nothing traceable back to me, but enough to plant seeds of doubt. Her reputation in the PR world began to crack. Clients started asking questions. Colleagues grew distant. The anonymous message came on a Friday evening. "I know what you're doing to my husband and that woman. We should meet. R. Rachel Callahan." Drew's wife. I'd researched her extensively. Old money, sharp mind hidden behind a socialite facade, married to Drew for 8 years. If she knew about the affair, she'd been playing a longer game than any of us. We met at a downtown coffee shop, neutral territory. Rachel was smaller than her photos suggested, but her eyes held the calculating intelligence I'd expected. "You're Felix," she said, sliding into the booth across from me. "Elin's ex. And you're the wife Drew's been cheating on." She smiled coldly. "For 2 years now. Different women, same pattern. But Elin's lasted longer than the others. Why haven't you left him?" "Because leaving would only give him what he wants. I prefer justice to freedom." She leaned forward. "I've been documenting everything. Bank records, hotel receipts, private investigators' reports. I could destroy them both tomorrow." "So why don't you?" "Because destruction is more satisfying when it's complete. Drew thinks he's clever, but he's sloppy. Elin thinks she's in love, but she's just another conquest. They deserve each other, and they deserve what's coming." She slid a manila envelope across the table. "Everything you need to finish what you started. Consider it a partnership." Inside were bank statements showing Drew had been funding Elin's lifestyle, photos of them at restaurants and hotels, even recordings from Rachel's private investigator. Enough evidence to obliterate them both. "Why help me?" I asked. "Because you understand patience. Most people want immediate satisfaction, but real revenge requires planning." She stood to leave. "Besides, when this is over, I'll have my freedom and my husband's assets. Win-win." As she walked away, I realized I'd underestimated everyone in this game. But that was about to change. The beauty of social engineering is that people destroy themselves. You just provide the opportunity. Using Rachel's intelligence, I crafted a plan that would unravel both Elin and Drew systematically. First, I targeted Elin's biggest professional vulnerability, her new PR firm's expansion project. She'd been courting a major tech client for months, promising innovative campaigns and guaranteed results. The contract would make her career. I waited until the morning of her final presentation, then sent a carefully crafted email to the client's CEO. Not from my account, from a burner email that appeared to be from a concerned industry insider. The subject line read, "Information about Elin Rydell you should know." The email contained select screenshots from her affair with Drew, framed as evidence of her unprofessional judgment and ethical lapses. Nothing explicitly inappropriate, just enough to raise serious questions about her character. The client pulled out that afternoon. Elin's expansion project collapsed, taking her professional credibility with it. Drew's turn came next. I followed him to his usual Friday night spot, an upscale bar downtown where he conducted informal business meetings. He was there with potential clients, playing the successful executive role he'd perfected. I waited in the parking lot until he came out, slightly intoxicated and overconfident. When he approached his BMW, I stepped out of the shadows. Drew Callahan. He spun around, startled. "Do I know you?" "Felix Rourke. Elin's ex. We need to talk." His face went pale in the streetlight. "I don't know what you think you know, but I know everything." I held up my phone, showing him one of his text messages to Elin. "Hotel receipts, restaurant bills, even the apartment you're paying for. Question is, does your wife know?" "What do you want?" His voice cracked. "Justice. You can confess to Rachel yourself, or I can do it for you. Your choice." He lunged at me then, desperation making him stupid. I sidestepped easily. 5 years of anger had motivated me to get in shape, and grabbed his keys as he stumbled past. "Wrong choice, Drew." I walked to his BMW and drove it straight into the decorative fountain at the center of the plaza. The water wasn't deep enough to cause real damage, but the humiliation was perfect. Drew stood there, watching his precious car sitting in 2 feet of water, looking like the fool he'd always been. "Next time, think before you wreck someone else's life," I called out, tossing his keys into the fountain after the car. The incident went viral within hours. Someone had filmed Drew's meltdown, and by morning, Chakra Fountain BMW was trending locally. His professional reputation took a hit that would take years to recover from. But Elin wasn't finished. She'd figured out I was behind her recent troubles, and desperation had made her dangerous. She showed up at my office building the following Monday, drunk at 2 p.m. and screaming accusations in the lobby. "Felix Rourke is a stalker," she shouted at anyone who would listen. "He's been harassing me for months, sabotaging my career." I recorded everything from the security desk, watching her unravel in real time. Her mascara streaked, her designer clothes wrinkled, her voice shrill with panic. The woman who'd once commanded every room she entered now looked like exactly what she was, a cheater whose lies had finally caught up with her. Security escorted her out, but the damage was done. To her reputation, not mine. The video of her public breakdown spread through local business networks faster than her rumors ever had. That night, she called me from Drew's phone. "You've won, okay? Is that what you wanted to hear?" Her voice was hollow, defeated. "My career is ruined. My friends won't talk to me. I can't even afford my apartment anymore." "Good," I said simply. "What do you want from me, Felix? What will it take for you to stop?" "Nothing you can give me. This isn't about what I want anymore. It's about what you deserve." I hung up and blocked Drew's number too, but I knew this wasn't over. Cornered animals are always the most dangerous, and Elin had nothing left to lose. The final confrontation was coming, and I intended to be ready for it. The rooftop of my building became ground zero on a rain-soaked Thursday night. I'd been expecting Elin to make one last desperate play, but I hadn't anticipated the audience. She'd somehow gotten past building security, probably charmed the night guard with her old skills, and cornered me as I was coming home from work. But instead of the lobby confrontation I'd expected, she forced me up the emergency stairs to the roof, a wild look in her eyes that spoke of someone with nothing left to lose. "You think you're so smart," she screamed over the wind and rain, "destroying my life piece by piece like some kind of mastermind." "I didn't destroy anything, Elin. I just stopped protecting you from the consequences of your choices." She came at me then, nails aimed at my face, years of suppressed guilt transformed into rage. I caught her wrists easily. Desperation had made her sloppy, just like Drew. "You ruined everything," she sobbed, struggling against my grip. "My job, my friends, my future." You ruined those things when you decided cheating was easier than honesty. That's when Rachel appeared at the rooftop door, followed by Drew. Apparently, Elin had called them both, thinking she could force some kind of confrontation that would clear her name. Instead, she'd just gathered all her enemies in one place. "Elin," Rachel said calmly, her voice cutting through the storm, "I think it's time you knew the truth." "What truth?" Elin spun toward her, releasing herself from my grip. "That I've been helping Felix destroy you and my husband for months." Rachel's smile was ice cold. "Did you really think your little affair was a secret? I've been documenting everything, waiting for the right moment to use it." Drew stared at his wife in shock. "Rachel, what are you talking about?" 2 years, Drew. 2 years of watching you parade around with your mistresses, thinking you were so clever. But Elin lasted longer than the others, got more expensive, so I decided to make an example of you both. The rooftop had become a stage, and we were all players in Rachel's long game. But she'd made one crucial mistake. She'd underestimated me too. "Except you're not walking away clean either, Rachel," I said, pulling out my phone. "You see, I've been recording this whole conversation. Conspiracy, harassment, blackmail. I'm sure the police will find it very interesting." Her confident expression faltered. "You wouldn't dare. Try me. You used me to get your revenge, but I'm not your puppet." I looked around at all three of them, Elin, Drew, Rachel, each one guilty of their own betrayals. "You all deserve each other." Drew, finally understanding how thoroughly he'd been manipulated, exploded. "You crazy witch!" He lunged at Rachel, but I stepped between them. "Enough!" I shoved him back hard enough to send him stumbling toward the roof's edge. "This ends now!" The wind whipped around us as police sirens wailed from the street below. Someone in the building had called them about the disturbance. Red and blue lights painted the rooftop in alternating colors, making the whole scene feel surreal. "Felix," Elin pleaded, reaching toward me one last time. "We can fix this. All of us. We can—" "No," I said firmly. "We can't. Some things are broken beyond repair." As the police reached the rooftop, I looked at the 3 people who had shaped my transformation from victim to victor. Elin, whose betrayal had started everything. Drew, whose arrogance had made him the perfect target. Rachel, whose manipulation had shown me that everyone was playing angles. They were all ruined now, professionally, socially, personally. Their reputations in shambles, their relationships destroyed, their futures uncertain. The very public nature of their downfall ensured that everyone in the city knew exactly who they were and what they'd done. Justice, I realized, wasn't about forgiveness or moving on. Sometimes it was simply about making sure the right people faced the right consequences. The rain continued to fall as the police separated us, taking statements and trying to piece together the complex web of revenge and betrayal that had brought us all to this rooftop. But I felt calm for the first time in years, watching as my former life finally, definitively, ended. The underdog had won, and this time there would be no second chances for any of them.